Coming to you from the Ozarks. Let me see if I can get you guys. All right. Get you square with the world. Okie dokie. Oh, so where are we at today? I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier this week, Kyle Daly, KH Daily Knives, and I was talking to him about my frustration with sharpening. And I was saying I used to feel like I was a pretty good sharpener, and anymore I feel like I'm not very good at it. Now, I can get a knife sharper than most people or a lot of people, but yeah, I mean, I just realized like I'm not as good as I could be. So, and he was mentioning the Dunning-Kruger effect, and I know we talked about it before, but basically what that is kind of he gave a story of the guy who put lemon juice all over his face and then tried to rob a bank, and they caught him, and he didn't understand how in the world they caught him because he thought that the lemon juice would make him invisible. And sometimes when you have a little bit of information, you think you know a lot, and then kind of the more you learn, the more you realize what you don't know, and then you realize just how complex even some simple stuff really is. So anyways, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. I think I'm gonna adjust my camera down a little bit.
Diamond Cut Steel said something, brother.
Hey man, hey, I gotta say, go check out Diamond Cut Steel's channel. I appreciate you joining in. So after our little sharpening last week, I bought one of those. Looky here. My wife can share affiliate link. I bought this little deal because old Diamond Cut was using it. Now, did I need it? No, because back here I've got a digital microscope. I got another digital microscope. However, for 20 bucks, this thing is a pretty sweet deal. And I gotta say, this is a lot more I can see a lot of people affording this that don't necessarily want to spend. Little Miss is upset. That don't want to spend the money on like the other microscope that I got. But let me see if I can show you guys the picture. Did you see that crucible? Into MagnaCut. No, I did not see that. So, whoop, there's my edge. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do this. So, I mean, that's a pretty good magnification there. This would be a great tool. I mean, if you're going to sharpen knives, I kind of feel like you need some sort of magnification. It just makes things so much easier. So I was playing around with this thing, and let me see. Let's see. It's got my photos in here. So I'm not sure how well you guys can see this, but I took this picture. Let's see if you guys can see that. You're probably not gonna be able to see it, but Airsteel took over MagnaCut. So I don't know if you can see it, but on this burr here, there's one spot where there's not a burr. And when I'm sharpening, you can see it's kind of right there in the middle. When I'm sharpening, even without magnification, I'm looking at the burr that's being formed. And what I'm looking at is for the consistency of that burr. And you'll be surprised how many times that burr is going to have like little blank spots in it where it's not fully formed. And what that is that could be some grit contamination, or that could be coarser scratches from an earlier, like you didn't get out all your scratches from your coarser grits. And so that's going to leave a spot where that burr isn't fully developed. And when you go to test that edge, that spot's not going to be quite as sharp. And so Diamond Cut, you were talking about the best tester, and I wonder if, like, sometimes when you get a different score, if you're not just hitting one of those spots, maybe that got some grit contamination or missed from the earlier. So I don't know. You're gonna have to catch me up on comments. I can't read the comments real good as they pop up, but my wife's gonna read them back to me.
I heard you said you knew about the crucible, or you read the crucible industry stuff.
Yeah.
Diamond Cut Steel said, in case you didn't know, brother, there's actually an adjustable zoom on that.
Yep.
Took me a while to figure out.
Yeah, so I think those pictures that I showed you were all the way zoomed in. You hit this button 3 times, it zooms in all the way. You can adjust the brightness of the light, which is handy too. So let me see if I can move this up here.
Scott said thanks. He added it to his cart and he hopes it's an affiliate link. It is.
Yes, thank you, Scott. So this bad boy, I like this style better. This is, don't get me wrong, for the price, you can't beat this. This will do most of what this will do at a fraction of the price. What did I pay for this? Like I think this is like $160 maybe, some something.
It'll travel the shows better with you too.
Well, and the nice thing about it is, there's my edge. I like that it's got a dial here and you can get it in focus. So yeah.
It's $189 right now. I don't know what you paid for.
$189. Okay. So 10%, about 10% the cost. This thing is fabulous. I was using it earlier because I was putting a fresh edge on my Genesis, and I was stropping my Genesis, trying to get the burr off. Let's test it. I don't think I have it fully stropped. Let me check this out real quick. Bum, bum, bum. I could strop it some more, but we'll go ahead and test it. So, I gotta grab a clamp real quick. Time to haul all my clamps off. I'm back. All right. So, anytime you're testing anything, consistency matters. And so, the amount of tension that you put on this filament will change your results, or could change your results. So I use a little clamp because I forget. Let's see. That way, I always have the same amount of tension on this. Set her on my scale and turn her on.
Diamond Cut Steel said, yeah, the standalone big screen units are so much better, but that little unit is just so quick and handy. If you watch, they fluctuate between $10 and $20. I paid $10 for mine.
Now you tell me. Sweet. $10, that's a crazy. $20, it's worth that all day long. So, watching the numbers run up. 151. 151. Daddy will have to take her. All right. You always want to do like 3 tests. And I really, if I want to just like make sure this thing's consistent, I'd mark my blade and test the same spot 3 times. They have a little stand that you can put the knife on and pivot, but it's been shown like that can skew the results. So I just try to hold it as still as possible. Cut is 168. What was my first measurement? 151?
I wasn't listening, sorry.
168. So that's 17 grams different. Earlier last night I did some testing, and you know, you might have 10, 20 spread, but like I said, I really don't mark the blade and try to cut the exact same spot every time. That'd probably be a little more accurate. All right. Wow, 172, 168, 172. We'll do one more.
Diamond Cut Steel said, I love seeing someone actually do the best test correctly and pre-tension with a consistent weight, not just pull it tight where it's inconsistent. Good job.
I have a video where I got tired of this dude that shows getting zeros on this thing. And you know, anyways, he offers a sharpening service. So I sent him some knives to be sharpened, and they scored well, but nothing that, like, I think they were like 150, 175-ish, no zeros. And there's 2 best testers. I don't know what he's doing to cheat the scale, but I can almost 100% guarantee you're not getting a 0 on one of these. If you got a 0 on one of these, I would say you could probably do the dropping the hair on the blade and it splitting it. I think the lowest I've ever got was like 78 or somewhere between 70 and 80. And that was on a stone sharpened blade.
He said, everyone on YouTube, I see that tester go as fast as they can when cutting through the wire, because you cut through it fast. The faster you cut through it, the lower the score will be.
165. So the average about, you know, somewhere in the 170 range. That's sharp. So the test I always do is just brushing the hairs on my arm, and it's grabbing and cutting hairs. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, but you can take my word for it. There's hairs on there. I do you can see my handle jump because as it grabs the hair, you know, it's tree topping, what I call tree topping sharp. It should be able to cut the hair without touching the arm. You know, and then if you put it on the arm, they just pop, and you shouldn't miss a single hair. If you have to put any pressure to cut hair, that's not sharp. All right, let's do one more test, and I'll show you how I like to watch the numbers climb up. I would say if I strop this knife some more, I'd probably get it down in the 150s. This is just sharpened on the Sharpall, the extra fine 1200. Now this is a brand new stone, so it's probably a little coarser than if it was broke in. These diamond stones, kind of like a lot of stones, lose cutting ability as you use them, and gets a little finer as you go. All right, we'll tear this out. You guys can see the numbers. Can they see the numbers?
Yeah, but they're backwards.
Okay. All right, here we go.
He said he knows who you're talking about. The best test he's seen that was true was around 12.
Was that 159 again?
He
Yeah,
said that
159.
that he probably used 1 pound test monofilament fishing line.
Yeah, you know, that's just it. You know, somebody could change out the line. This is the stuff that you get from the Best Tester. I had to buy a new roll, and it's, I don't know what gauge wire it is, but the pre-tensioned strips, I would do that, but I'm cheap, they're more expensive, and they actually will read out a lower score as well. I think they're like 10% lower than this filament. So, you know, any of this stuff, it's just kind of, it's just another good measuring data point. It's not an all in all, be all to, it's like trying to judge a knife on the Rockwell hardness. All right, what am I gonna do now? So, if you look back on my lives, I was trying to sharpen this Spyderco CPM Rex 121, and it kind of kicked my butt. I don't even remember what I was sharpening on. I gotta go back and look. I think I might have been sharpening it on Waterstones, but we might try to sharpen it tonight. Oh, so anyways, ever since I switched to MagnaCut, the way that I sharpened my Genesis wasn't getting the same results. And before that, the Genesis was made out of Carpenter's CTS XHP. And I feel like a dummy, but I realized the problem is I couldn't get the burr off. It was a lot harder to get the burr to remove. And so I added an extra step and I started sharpening the MagnaCut to 400 grit. With Carpenter's XHP, I stop at 220 grit because I like my knives to have kind of a toothy bite. So when I switched to MagnaCut, because I was having a problem removing the burr, I switched and started sharpening to 400 grit. Takes a little more time, and then I still wasn't happy with how the burr removal was going. Well, after our live last week, and I realized I hadn't been adjusting my clamps or the angle for sharpening on my sharpening machine when I switched to the felt belt. And part of the reason I never switched it is because the felt gives and kind of wraps around the blade. Well, with XHP, I think that was fine. But with MagnaCut, it just wasn't cutting it. So here last night or the other day, I realized, and I switched up, I measured the thickness of my belt and I adjusted to where now I'm stropping at the same angle as I'm sharpening on my felt belts. But I still think I could do better. So after umpteen years of making knives and sharpening knives, I'm still changing the way that I do it. In fact, today I was this MagnaCut is a bear to finish, and today I was playing around with mirror polishing this edge. I bought some diamond belts. Those suckers are like $100 a pop. And I talked to Kyle, was talking to him about his process in finishing. I'm still not happy with this finish. You know, there's still a lot of scratches. I talked to a well-known knife maker that I can't, Bob Trusello, I think that's how you say it. and asked him how to mirror polish MagnaCut. He says you don't. And he suggested these diamond belts. So anyways, this is a okay finish, but it's not something that, I would love to get to where I'm mirror polishing my MagnaCut, but it's a nightmare. Because this is my next run of limited edition knives, and I think I might end up stone washing them, but we'll see. We shall see. What else was I saying? I'm gonna look at this edge here.
Devin Vaughn said, when I strap on my machine, the same one you have, I feel like my knife gets overstropped. My question is, how do you know when to stop? As soon as the burr is gone?
So go get you a $20 microscope. You really need to look, like, you just want to remove the burr, and you don't want to over polish your edge. When you buff your edge too much, it makes the edge slick and it loses its kind of bite. A lot of times, well, here, I'll show you on this here maybe. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is that Rex 121 that I was struggling to get a edge that I really liked on it. Once you polish it out, this Slick City, yep. So a lot of times what's going to happen, which way do I got to go? All right. A lot of times what's going to happen is you might be holding your angle too high, and you're going to buff. You're going to hit that edge. I can't point to it. Yeah, let's point up here. You're gonna buff just this edge. If you're holding your angle too high, you're gonna buff that edge right off. I'd almost rather see, you know, when you strop it, that it polishes higher up on the edge first, and then you just kind of walk that buffing up to the edge. You mainly are just trying to get rid of a burr. You don't want necessarily to get rid of your serrations. And so the other thing is where are you stopping? When I first started sharpening knives, I started with 1,000 and a 6,000 grit. And that's great if you're chopping vegetables in the kitchen, but any more, like, once, it didn't take me very long before I just only used 1,000 grit and stropped. Because 1,000 grit leaves you kind of a toothy edge. Like I said, with the MagnaCut or the Carpenter's Genesis, I quit at 220 grit. This knife that I tested earlier, I sharpened to 400 grit. I will probably back that back to 220 if because I like a toothier edge. For everyday uses of knives, you don't really want a highly polished edge, in my opinion. So this knife here, I can see right at the edge, I have some coarser, deeper scratches where I haven't got consistently out to that edge. 220, 600 strop with white compound. Yeah, I use a white compound when I strop. I just ordered, I never did like stropping. When I started out, I learned from Murray Carter, and I used newspaper. I just used 1,000 grit and newspaper. Newspapers are kind of hard to come by. So then I started going down the rabbit hole of different strops, making your own strops, different stropping compounds. And actually, right before this live, I just sanded this one down. This was a 20 or quarter micron strop. I stripped it down. I was gonna I have some Jindy 4 micron I was gonna throw on this strop. I just ordered a 4-pack strop and 4-pack diamond compound from, I want to say K&E or somewhere like that. So that should be coming in this week. Diamond compound, I probably wouldn't do that. I'm mainly doing that because I'm working more with the MagnaCut and these super steels that your other compounds aren't going to do a whole lot to. So yeah, that's that. All right. Do I throw this in that and sharpen it, or do I sharpen it on this stone? I think I'll sharpen it on this stone. So I don't know if I talked to you guys about this the other day, but I bought these, yeah, KME emulsions. So these are Dr. Marv's, and this is the Scientific Sharpening Stones, 20, 10, and 5 micron. I probably should have I got these because I want to play around with just seeing how sharp I can get something. And I was kind of disappointed the other day because I haven't really used these but once or twice. And when I got them out the other day, these stones had separated from the aluminum plate. They had started curling up on the ends. I contacted the company and I was kind of hoping they would replace them. He suggested I super glue them, which I wasn't too fond of, but these are made in Germany, and he did offer if I shipped them back that, I don't know, they would test them or something, and I don't know what it cost to ship them back, but all in all, I think I paid $400 or $500 for these stones, and then got hit with the tariff when they came in. So I super glued them today, and we'll see how they hold up. I've used them once or twice. I do like the way they cut. But it's kind of disappointing that they didn't send me new stones, especially considering he said that the stones I got were some of the first batch and that they had changed up the way they were making them to prevent them from doing that. So I don't know.
Diamond Cut Steel said Dr. Marv's diamond I have CVN are very unique. It took me quite a while to really figure them out. But once you figure them out, the edge quality is unbelievable and very high concentration of abrasive media within the resin makes them very unique in how they react, and there's a learning curve to those stones.
Yeah, I had heard some good stuff about them, so I was excited to get them. And we'll put them to the test. Let's test this thing. Let's just see where I have it at before I get going on it. Got the filament ready. Turn her on. Hmm, 258. 258. Getting ready to Friday, I'm going to be in Vidalia, Missouri for the what do they call that?
Homesteading Life.
Yeah, the Homesteading Life Conference.
Friday only.
258. You know, that's the other thing about this tester. I would guess the higher your score, the better chance that it's going to be consistent. We'll see. Now, like, pull out a $2.99 or something. Yeah, 304 called that one. So 258, 304. So anyways, that's kind of where we're gonna start at. So yeah, I'll be at the Homesteading Life Conference, sharpening knives. If you're in or near around St. Louis, Vandalia, Missouri, you should consider coming out. It'd be a good time. I've done that conference for 7, 8 years, or maybe longer. I don't know.
2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
Out of coffee, that's a sad time. I thought about doing making some coffee tonight, but I was like, you guys probably don't want to watch me grind and make coffee and talk about coffee. All right. I do not remember. We'll see. This seems spicy. Yeah, and you got to re-zoom in each time you use this because it kind of resets itself. Let's see if I can show you guys. Bam, 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 bam. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Oh, that's not the edge. Here, let me look at that. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right. No burr yet. It's getting close. I want to build an app, or I want to build, you know, like our cell phones can tell level and things. Somebody needs to build a device that you put on your knife and it reads out the angle that you're holding, like real time. You could watch your phone and there'd be a screen and an arrow, kind of tell you, you know, 19, 18, 19, 20.
Diamond Cut Steel said they make that.
Really? That was going to be my claim to fame. You're gonna have to send me a link.
He said you can look it up. It's called an Angle Pilot. It's like what you have that you hook on your knife.
Did I hook on my knife? Oh. Yeah.
Have you seen the device that holds your knife at a certain angle for whetstones?
It depends. Sheffer Cut, they sent me one for kitchen knives. I've done a video on, I need to do the review video. I actually, kudos to them because somebody tagged me in their post and asked me what I thought. And I was like, I think that people should just learn how to freehand sharpen and quit looking for tools to, you know, whatever. And the company reached out and replied to that comment. And I told them, you know, I don't remember how the conversation went down, but they ended up sending me their unit, and honestly, it was a fairly decent unit for the price and for the right person. You know, because the bottom of the line, the end of the day, a lot of people are not going to spend the time to practice and become good at freehand sharpening. And so there is a place for those people. There is a, you know, even though I would prefer people learn how to do it freehand, any type of system is going to be slow, especially once you become skilled at freehand sharpening. Outdoor 55's video. I don't agree with everything. Like, he did a video where he sharpened a knife in a minute and a half or whatever. And good for him. He's a better freehand sharpener than I am. I don't try to rush freehand sharpening, because most of the time when you rush, you're not going to do a good job. So, you know, I don't know. I use a machine for most of my knives because, like, that's the thing that I disagreed with, is he's like, oh, machine, you know, they're faster, but that don't prove anything. I can't read that whole thing.
Well, he said he has the Sheffer Cut system that they sent him. It's interesting, but he's a professional freehand sharpener, so it fights more than it helps him. Fights him more than it helps him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he said, yeah, but that doesn't prove anything. I did a video where I took and cut the edge off of a silicone carbide and took it to hair whittling in a minute, but that doesn't mean that it's a healthy edge.
Right. So you can take the edge off of a knife with a rock, and it's not the same as a knife that hasn't been sharpened for 6 months. And when I sharpen my knives, they have, I don't have my micrometer here, but, you know, they've got a 10, 15 thou edge. You know, they're not a zero grind. And so there's a lot of steel to remove on the initial sharpening. You're not going to do, you know, sometimes I might sharpen 30 knives in a day, which is not a lot of knives, but it's a lot for me. I spend about 30 minutes on 7 knives. So what is that? 4, 7, 14, 28. A little over 4 minutes a knife is what it takes me to sharpen a knife from the no edge to done. And that is, when I send my knives out, I want them to be perfect. So I spend more time making sure that it's done right. So that's definitely faster than freehand sharpen in my opinion. And if it wasn't faster, I would do it the other way. Because when I first started making knives, I hand sharpened every single knife. I didn't have a tool I hand sharpened every knife from 15 to 20 thou edge to all on stones. And I don't freehand sharpen near as much now as when I started years ago. Now I do it for fun. I don't necessarily do it that often. I do it for our personal knives. If I'm processing a deer or butchering chickens or in the kitchen at home, then I'll hand sharpen our knives. But even then, sometimes even with that, I might come over to the shop and sharpen knives beforehand on the machine. And I'm still not fully convinced. I really believe that a machine can cause heat damage to the edge. I should check this out. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna take it over here. I need a way to stream this to the screen. Wow. Got some big chunks out of that edge. I don't know if that's from. Look at this. Where's she at? There we go. Look at this. Nope. See if I can get you guys, show you guys this. Oops. There goes my battery pack. Get off my shoe. All right. Look at that big old chunk out of that edge. I'm not exactly sure why that's like that. Wasn't like that when we started. Is there tear out? Or maybe it was. I don't know. Big old chunks tore out of that edge. We'll switch sides and see what happens. I wonder if that's why, like, I didn't feel like this got as sharp as it should the last time I sharpened it.
Diamond Cut Steel said, for me, it's all about well-formed, healthy edge quality. Powered abrasives, you're creating heat fatigue no matter how careful you are. There's plenty of testing out there to prove it. He was just talking about that.
You think that was tear out on that edge?
What's that steel on that?
Rex 121.
Oh, I was gonna say 181. That's funny.
Right. Rex 121.
I was wrong. He said, man, Rex 121 is unique in its
Sharpening.
Yep.
You still see those right there.
It's so hard and so much carbide that it really does not like diamond plates. Diamond plates, resin, or metallic bonded stones that are much better and will cause less chipping.
Oh,
Oh, resin or metallic bonded stones are so much better and will cause less chipping.
and I use probably more pressure too, so that's probably compounding the problem. Well, I was thinking that I'm probably gonna use those Dr. Marv stones on this knife here. I can see that one chunk out of there. I'm gonna have to go back and watch how I sharpened this the last time. I don't remember if I used some of my water stones on it or if I did the diamond. I also feel, I keep hitting something on this stone has, I wonder if this stone's got some grit contamination because I feel, where's it at? I feel something. Let's see something. Yeah. What's that? Not sure what that is, but I can see it, but there's a kind of a big speck right there. I think that's gone now though. Had to look over the stone. I feel something somewhere clicking.
Devin Vaughn says, at gun shows, I sharpen so many gas station knives. Most people will never know if the edge of their knife gets overheated. They're just happy it cuts paper again.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I was talking to a friend earlier just before this live, and he's like, quit looking at it under a microscope. So, but I'm trying to split atoms here. I just got some. I like water stones better than diamonds for the most part. Your comment about chipping really makes me wonder if that edge is just not so delicate. It's chipping. See, look at that. Right there, and there, and there. And those could be still just not out. And there, and there. Holy schmoly. Looks like Swiss cheese. Yeah. All right, change it up. Change it up. I'm gonna check out that, lubricant too. I haven't yet. It's probably wrong, but I'm just using, the Camille oil, the Japanese blade oil, mainly because, I don't know how that keeps getting screwed down. Mainly because I don't want something that's toxic. I don't know. You know, I didn't want to use like a cutting oil, 3-in-1 oil. I feel like the last time, I feel like I tried to sharpen this knife with these Edge Pro stones. I don't remember, are these, they're diamond, I believe. Yeah, diamond. I think they're resin bonded. Let's see how, let's see, that's 450. 450. Where do I want to start? 950. I'll start at the 450.
I tried to look for that video, but it was,
Which
not in the
video?
photo. You
Oh.
doing this.
It was live maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't, or it might have been longer than that. All right. Clamp this bad boy up. You know, I don't know that I did. I don't think I used that. I don't think I used this on it. Where'd my tea go? Maybe I did. I've slept since then. I 3D printed. I 3D printed a. I 3D printed a. What am I trying to say? An adapter for this, so that I can clamp this blade. Basically, I need to heat and put the heat inserts in here, and what it'll do is it'll let me clamp this knife in the center. But I don't know that it's that important. Freaking stupid spider code. Not a good place to clamp this thing. You know, I should put some tape on this too, since it's not my knife. A buddy of mine, it's like, take it, play around with it, sharpen it, tell me what you think. Okay. Then I just, yeah, I haven't used it much. I haven't really used it at all.
You've had it a long time.
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to help it from slipping or not. We'll find out. Why did I put it in that way? All right. First things first, we'll set our stone compensator so that I don't get a comment later. Hey, somebody had that tight. Somebody being me. All right. All right, so I tend to freehand sharpen about 19 degrees. I should have measured my angle. Somewhere I've got a laser guided, laser angle finder thingamabob. So that's at 17.2. 17. And 3. I'll just zero it here. We'll see where we're at. That's 0. $14. Let's take that down. Take that down. Which lever does which? 13. 16. Seems like 17.3. Check this again. I want to see what that is. 17 degrees. 17 degrees. All right. My battery die? Did I leave it on? Need my Sharpie. Who said what?
Nobody said nothing.
All right, we're gonna have to go down a little more. See, what did I tell you? 19 degrees. It's a little off. I had it at 17. Go to 19. It's kind of funny because people ask me like, how close, like what angle do you hold? I say like 19. People think that I'm just like pulling numbers out of my backside or something. That's really just die. Low power, I'm going to plug it in. But it looks like that's dialed in there. I don't see any Sharpie at the edge. Let's see. That's not gonna work. All right, so we're gonna run with that. You want to be careful when it's kind of like spray painting. If you're just gonna keep moving back and forth, you want to keep moving so you don't
Dig a hole.
yeah. Paper towel, paper towel. Need my optivisors. Be better if I had this a little bit lower. This table's a little high. It's kind of crazy to think, like, I know that they talk about sharpening this steel at like, I believe it's like 14 degrees. And if it was chipping out like that at 19 degrees, I can't imagine how easily it would chip at 14. It may not chip quite as easy because it flex a little more being thinner, but still. I like having harder Rockwell, harder knives. A lot of Japanese knives are higher on the hardness, which means they're going to chip, more likely to chip than deform the edge. But that's like all the people that own shuns that don't know how to use them, end up with them all chipped up.
One Faith Family 181 said, question, I dropped my knife on cement and blunted the tip of my knife. How do I repair it? Do you have a video on it?
If it's one of mine, if you want, you can send it back to me and I'll fix it. I probably have a video somewhere. Basically, your options are, it's probably not as bad as you think, but your options are, changing the profile to like bring the tip up more or take the spine down, or a combination of the two. It all depends like how much of the tip is broke off.
The Wild Huckleberry Arkansas said, hey Auntie, how are you today?
Good. Living the dream. That's what you're supposed to say, right? I shouldn't have said anything about, never had a problem sleeping at night with a new baby. Cause, mama, you know, we co-sleep and she nurses and stuff. Well, this one's been a little bit different. She's, kept daddy up a little bit at night. She woke mom and me up this morning bright and early.
She just likes to get up at 6 a.m.
Yep,
Otherwise, she sleeps through the night pretty good. Generally.
sometime,
Generally.
generally.
But they might not have realized we had a baby yet because I haven't been on my channel.
Oh. Yeah. I kind of feel like I might have a burr there, but I don't really want to pull the knife out, but I'm going to and look at it under the microscope. Gonna mark where this is clamped so I can kind of put it back in mostly the same spot. Gonna see if I got rid of she's tight. See if we got rid of those chippy chips. Ooh, pretty. It's not even the side of a sharp edge, so, you know. Or was it? No, I was sharpening this side. Right. Still a little couple chips in there. But it is way better than it was. All right. Still have a couple little chips in there, but it's a lot better than it was. Who's that? Strawberry from Arkansas.
Wild Huckleberry. It's Robbie and Sonia.
Huh. Yeah, when are you gonna start putting out videos again, babe?
I thought I was going to make a video today and I didn't do it. I know.
All these people coming from Jessica's channel. No.
Slacking. I know.
Have you got any new subscribers?
No, I don't think so. Still at 1950 something, so.
So, different knives form different burrs. I'm pretty sure I have a burr on this, but I'm not sure. I'm guessing this steel is going to produce a smaller burr. Yeah, I feel like there's a burr there. That's a lot harder to tell than on some other knives.
Excuse me.
Oops. Diamond cut still on. What's your favorite fixed angle? Cause you got the K and G, right? You got the K and G and the do you have the TS Prof? I contemplate it. I've talked to TS Prof about trying to get them to send me one of their sharpeners. But honestly, like this, he's still on. He might have jumped off.
No response yet, so we'll see.
What time is it?
8:12.
Yeah, he's an hour ahead. Sharpen this and send this back to the guy. All right, let's see. Check that other side out real quick. Ah. So, makes sense. This bevel is not the same as the other side. I tend to hold a little shallower on one side of freehand sharpening. So I'm going to switch out to a little bit coarser. What grit do I have on now? I think it's 450. Go to the 250. And I think they're the same thickness, yep. So I'll have to change that. Definitely got a burr there. All right, let's check it again. All right.
Live water says ASMR.
Boy, it's so hard to tell if there's a burr there. Like the, pretty sure I have a burr, but it's super fine. And I still see a little spot out at the tip where I still have a little bit of the old bevel. Needs a little more steel removed. Right out here. Let's see. Live water was out at Doug and Stacy's last year, right? They're gonna be back this. Gonna be back this year? Probably not, but maybe. Oops. Or was that the Homesteading Expo? I don't remember. All right. I think I'm gonna call that good. I want to switch to the back to the finer grit. Feel like I got a burr there.
What is that yellow tape actually for?
I think it's like electronics or something. Oh, it sounds so much better. Look up 450 grit to micron. What is 450 grit in microns?
30 to 35 microns,
Really?
depending on the standard use. Generally, 400 to 500 grit falls within the 20 to 350 micron range. For finishing, acting as a medium fine abrasive.
I would have thought it was larger than that.
Well, that was the top thing at the top AI overview.
Oh,
But if you go, if you go down, what'd you say, 450?
Yeah.
450 is 114.3.
yeah, that seems more like it. Cause
She is an
X,
AI
let's see, A45, A30 is, A30 is like 600 grit, I think. Which I think is 30 microns, is like 600 grit. They make grit comparison and is worse than like metric and standard. There's microns, there's mesh, there's whatever sandpaper is. There's all these different, then the Japanese has another grading scale. So trying to keep straight,
Everything I've clicked on so far has given a different answer.
yeah. All right. We're gonna switch to one of the Dr. Marv stones. I'm gonna go with the 20 micron, which is gonna be a big jump, but these should cut fast. And set for the stone thickness. All right. Hey. Oops. Ran out of stone. All right, let's look at this bad boy. Purdy. Yeah. There's still some small dings in the end. Oh, there's a big one. Thankfully, when I ran off the edge of the stone, I don't think it hurt it. All right. I'm gonna play with this some more, but I think I'm gonna test the edge and just see where we're at. Oh, I didn't strop it, but we'll see what it tests at. It's gotta be better than it was. Famous last words. I'll still mess with this sun, but I'm about ready for a call tonight. All right. Ooh. 247. Not very good. Of course, I didn't strop it. I'm gonna go ahead and strop it real quick. Ooh, shiny. Shiny, shiny. Oh, yeah. That ought to help. All right. Yeah, not much. 235. I don't know what I think about this deal. Or I just suck at sharpening. All right. Show you guys. I'll show you guys. Get you in here for the see if I can't. Wonder if I can zoom in. Oh, looky there. Looky there, looky there. We'll get you guys in here close. All right. So, you know, I could spend more time definitely refining the edge, but there's a Scratch pattern does not look that great. Let's see if I can find one of those chips. I think there's one up here on the tip. When I stropped it, this didn't get stropped good there. There's a chip right there. See how it's, I don't know if I did that, if that just didn't come out, but they were worse than that. Definitely not a simple steel to sharpen. I'm gonna play with it some more. See, because it should get a lot sharper than it is. Anyways, I'm done for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, if you're in Missouri, come out to the Homesteader, or, you know, if you're close by, come out to the Homesteading Life Conference. I'll be there Friday, sharpening knives and doing that kind of thing. So look forward to seeing you there. And thanks for tuning in. Smash the like button, subscribe, ring the bell notification, all that kind of jazz. Have a good night.